I'm Comley, and I'm a mindset coach. And today I want to talk to you about stress. Stress has become a pandemic. It is a problem in our society today. We are suffering from stress. If you're looking for a real pandemic, this is it. It is stress. Now, stress is playing a part in heart attacks, strokes, high blood pressure, sleeping disorders, weight gain, lack of energy, depression, brain fog. It affects things like decision making, and it even affects your immune system. It weakens it, and the list goes on and on and on. I heard a talk from Emily Fletcher now the other day, and she put it so beautifully. She said, stress is making us stupid, sick and slow. And that's what it's doing. It's making us stupid, sick and slow. Now we need to take responsibility for our stress, and we need to start controlling it. And you can control your stress response, because your stress response can be triggered by your imagination. Remember, your mind cannot tell the difference between a real threat and an imagined threat. So we need to understand something, that we can play a part in taking control of our stress. But let's just look at the original intent of the stress response. What happened was, for our survival, when our ancestors were still there living in the far distant past, and you were out now trying to find some food, and here you are walking around with your little Speedo on, and you looking for food, and all of a sudden a lion jumps out from behind the bush, and you can see this lion is ready to attack you. So what would happen in that situation? Well, all of a sudden you would get this response called the fight or flight response, and stress hormones would flood your body. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, and all of a sudden your breathing will start getting deeper, increasing, so you can get more oxygen. What would happen is your heart would beat faster, your blood pressure will go up, your blood will even thicken, and what will happen is all those nutrients will flood into the big muscle groups, because what's going to happen is now you're getting geared up that you might have to fight, or you might have to take flight to get away from the risk, and your senses would heighten. Even your ability to feel pain would get dulled. Have you noticed that people, even if you are in an accident, you hurt yourself, it doesn't immediately hurt? It takes a while for the pain to come. It's because the pain gets dulled. So we need to understand that this thing is so good for us. To tell you the truth, that in that stress situation, you could even, your bowels could go, your bladder could go, and I suppose that's where the term comes from, well, I really shat myself. So what happens is, you need to understand something, that your body goes into this response, and it only worries about one thing, and that's called survival. Your digestive system is switched off, your immune system is switched off. Anything that is not necessary for your survival goes to the back burner. To tell you the truth, your skin even becomes acidic, so that you don't taste that well. So then what happens is, you get away from the threat, the life-threatening threat, and everything gets restored to normal. The balance gets restored and life goes on. And it has played an important part in our survival as a species. And it is a good thing that we've had it, because it's helped in our evolution. But the problem is this, is that you can use your imagination to create a stress response in your life. And you're doing that all the time. We're not living in a world or in an environment where our lives are constantly in danger, but yet we've got this pandemic of where people are so suffering from stress that it's busy killing us. It's busy sucking the life out of it. It's taking our energy. It's really sapping us and milking us dry. And now you add this whole lockdown and this whole coronavirus, and you find that the stress is even escalating. I mean, now stress is totally out of control, with all this negative, all this fear-mongering that's going on. And I want to tell you now that you're going to have to take responsibility for your stress. You're going to have to learn to manage it. And we're going to have to learn to stop going to go fetch the monsters that may or may not be in the future. Because that's what we're doing. The monsters are no longer living underneath our beds. They're living here in our minds. And we fetch them all the time to torment us. We've got to learn to let go. And we've got to stop catastrophic thinking. Don't always expect and imagine the worst. Now, I understand that some of us have trained ourselves so badly that we cannot help ourselves. We're even at the point where we have panic attacks on a regular basis. And we're battling to control and maintain our stress levels. But we're going to have to. We are really going to have to. And we're going to have to remember these words of Emily Fletcher, that our stress is making us stupid, sick, and slow. Did you know that it can be a source of obesity? It can be a source of drug and alcohol abuse, depression, feeling drained, as I've said before, brain fog, lack of concentration, affect your memory, your focus, your attention, your decision-making power. Stress is having a real impact on our lives, and we need to learn to control it. I want to tell you a story. Many years ago, when I was still a kid, I helped in a diving school, Mark's diving school, and I would help when he done his courses. And I've always remembered this because he used to explain a stress response. He used to explain to people about how you get a stress spiral, and all of a sudden this panic starts building up on the inside of you. And he gave a good tip. He said that if you're feeling a stress spiral build up, and you feel that you're going to go into a panic attack or you can't control, he said just close your eyes, put your hands on your chest, and just focus on your breathing. Just focus on your breathing. Bring everything back just to one breath at a time. Deep breath in and out. And let it calm you down. So if you're starting to feel that you're spiraling, just do that. It's a great method. It will help you. And I've watched it help people. I watched people on the diving courses, how it helped people in stressful situations. So I thought I'll just throw that in for you. It's quite a good memory. So if you're battling with stress, you're going to realize that you're going to have to take responsibility for it. Nobody else can take the responsibility for your stress. You're going to have to stop playing the blame game. You cannot blame. And you cannot have a victim mentality. You're going to have to let go of blame, and you're going to have to let go of a victim mentality. And that's a decision that you can and have to make. Because the change only comes in your life when you take complete responsibility. I learned that as a very young person. I learned that when I was in my 20s and I was at the lowest point in my life. I learned that nothing changes for as long as I'm blaming and for as long as I'm a victim. But the minute I learned to take responsibility, and I made that deep commitment that I was going to take responsibility for my life and my well-being, well, you know what? Ability responded. And that's the beautiful thing about responsibility. When you take it, ability will respond. Just one step, my friend, in a better direction can change your destination. And that's what happened in my life. When I took that one step of taking responsibility many years ago, that one step, it changed my destination. I've ended up where I have today because of that decision. So let's get back to stress. You're going to take responsibility for your stress? That's great. I'm proud of you. You've already taken the most important step. The second thing I want to tell you is that you can now train yourself how to cope with stress. When America wanted to be the first nation to send astronauts into space, the skill that they trained them the most in was the art of not panicking. How's that? This is true. The skill that they taught them in the most, what they trained them in the most, was the skill of not panicking. So here we find out that stress, coping with stress, is a learned behavior. Now, if you want to learn any behavior, it's going to take practice, time, and commitment. Practice, time, and commitment. So you're going to have to work on this. Now, the awesome thing is that when you start practicing taking your control over your life, this is what happens. Practice makes progress. So as you start taking responsibility, start controlling your stress, you're going to get better and better and better and better at it. Remember, Confucius said this. He said, the man who moves a mountain starts by moving small stones. So you're not going to immediately be the guy who just overcomes stress. It's going to take you time. You're going to have to move one stone at a time. But what you need to do is stay committed. And here's an important step. If you want to stay committed, make sure that you have the right motivation. Motivation is the key. It is so important if you want to achieve any success in any area of your life. You need a strong why. Why? Because reasons reap results. Hear this. Reasons reap results. Why do you want to overcome your stress? Are you fighting a disease? Are you fending off an illness? Are you facing business and financial turmoil? Are you going through a divorce? Are you trying to overcome obesity? What are you doing? What do you want to overcome? What is your strong why? You need a strong why. And then once you've got your why, write it down. Because on the days that you're feeling weak, you want to go look at your motivation. You want to go look at your reasons. Because when you can find your reasons, you're going to get strong. And your reasons are going to cause you to reap results. So write down your motivation, why you need to overcome stress in your life. The next thing is mindset. You can't work on your mindset enough. You've got to work on your mindset constantly. It's the same as training. You can't just train, for a month and now you've trained for the rest of your life. It's an ongoing practice. And that's what mindset is. Working on your mind is a constant job. You do it daily. You do it all day. And the important thing to remember is that this is true of any endeavor. Success is always an inside-outside story. So no matter what you want to be successful in, it's always inside-outside. So overcoming stress is an inside-outside story. I love that saying that says what you practice in private will be rewarded in public. So just remember that. This is so important. And I want to just break away and tell you this. While we're talking about mindset, is that if you're sitting here at the moment and you're feeling trapped, you're feeling all this pressure because of all this unknowns that's happening in the world right now, I want you to write this down. Being trapped is just a position. It's not a fate. Hear that. Being trapped is a position. It's not a fate. And it's not a fate. You're going to get out of it. You're going to overcome this. Things will pass. Things will always get better. So just be encouraged by that. And what you need to do is you've already done the most important thing. You're taking responsibility. It's such an important thing. You've stopped being a victim. You're not blaming. And now you're training your brain. And once you start training your brain, you're going to get stronger. And the awesome thing about life is that when you get stronger, life gets better. Hear that. When you get stronger, life gets better. And you are strong. You've just got to come to terms with your strength, experience your strength, and learn to express your strength. And hopefully we're going to learn a couple of tricks today that are going to help you do exactly that. There's a saying, a Stoic saying that says this. It says we suffer not from the events in our lives, but our judgments about them. Hear that. We suffer not from the events in our lives, but our judgments about them. And that's so important because stressful events are always going to happen. There will be the event, and then there will be the story that you tell yourself about the event. So what is your story? What are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself that you're not going to make it? That you're not going to survive? Is your story a horror story or is it an adventure? Is your story a love story or a comedy? What is your story? I don't know. But you know your story. You know what you're telling yourself every day. Are you telling yourself that you're going to lose your house, you're going to lose your family, you're going to lose everything? Or are you telling yourself that there's going to be a way that things will get better and that you are more than an overcomer? What is your story? And most importantly, if you continue telling yourself the story that you're busy telling yourself now, what is the outcome? How does that story end? And if it's a ending that you don't want, once again, you are the one that is responsible for changing that story. And how do we change that story? Well, we start creating a positive mindset. You start listening to what you're telling yourself because you are always talking to yourself. It's called self-talk. Start listening and paying attention because you are saying things all the time. You might be saying things like, I can't cope. I can't handle this anymore. It's too much. I can't do this. Well, all that is doing is compounding your problem. It's not helping you to find solutions. Because whatever you are telling yourself, life is trying to prove to you. Life is trying to show you that you are right. If you put it out there, you're going to get it back. What you sow is going to reap. You're going to reap. I mean, that's just a fact. That's what it is. What you're putting out there, you're going to get more of. So change what you're putting out there. So let's just slow down a little bit and let's look at it. We're making ourselves stress all the time about things that are not life-threatening. We're causing the spike of stress hormones, which is wreaking havoc on our body. Our bodies were never ever created to experience these stress responses and these hormones, these chemical reactions on a continuous basis. We were not created for that. We're not built for that. We're meant to experience it, get away from the life-threatening situation, balance out, go back to normal. But we move from stress response, stress response, stress response, stress response. We get in a panic and we get a total stress response because we're stuck in traffic. We get it because we might have a dirty shirt on, or we're late for a meeting, or we're going to have a sales meeting, or we just get a stress response because of tomorrow, and you don't know what tomorrow holds. And that's a true story. So understand something, that you are just creating stress for yourself all the time, and it's something that we're going to have to stop. And we're going to stop by paying attention to the stories we're telling ourselves. We're going to listen to our self-talk, and we're going to take control of our self-talk. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start killing ants. Well, how do you kill ants? Well, ants are automatic negative thoughts. You need to challenge your thoughts. When you see yourself going that way, negative, take control of it. Because a negative thought that goes unchallenged, your mind believes and your body reacts to. A negative thought gone unchallenged, your mind believes, your body reacts to. So it's important that we understand that killing ants is an important part of our daily job. It's part of your daily job of navigating yourself through your crisis, through your situation. And then I want to tell you an interesting thing about Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones was asked, how does he deal with his problems that come up in his life? And he said, I don't have problems, I have puzzles. And that's so cool, because just by replacing the word problem with puzzle, you've already taken a lot of the negative out of it, and you've almost turned it into a game. Because a puzzle is not as threatening as a problem. And that's what it is. Your problem is no more than a puzzle that you need to solve. And you've got the capability and you've got the ability to solve it. You just want to get out of your way so that the answers can flow. You are always asking questions. So start asking the right questions. And then you can start putting the puzzle together. It will come together. You know that your brain cannot leave a question unanswered? You know that. It's the truth. You can research it. Your brain feels compelled to answer any question. That is why it is so important that we start asking ourselves the right question. When you look at the world around you, you'll see that everything is an answer to a question. I'm sitting on this couch. How did it come about? Well, man was uncomfortable at some point and he wanted to be more comfortable. And he asked the question, how can I sit more comfortable? And he couldn't leave it unanswered. So everything that you see that has been created by man, this world that we are living that's constantly evolving, is because we cannot leave questions unanswered. So remember this now. You've got a puzzle that you need to solve. Ask your mind, your brain, the right questions, and it will answer you. The answers will come. Have faith in the process. Believe it. And then the next thing that you need to do is you need to start closing loops. We live with a lot of open loops, unresolved issues, and we just leave these open loops all over. They're in our mind, and what they're doing is they're bogging us down, they're slowing us down. It's like a computer. You put a whole lot of programs open on your computer, what happens? Your computer slows right down. So learn to close loops. Practice closing loops. An awesome thing to do there is meditation. Meditation will help you closed loops. Some of the loops are easy to find, some of them are a little bit deeper rooted, and you might have to go deep, but go deep if you have to, because closing loops is so important to your future. You need to learn to do it. And if you feel that you cannot do it in your own, go get a therapist, go see a therapist, get help, get assistance, reach out to someone, but do what you have to do to close loops. The next thing is cultivate an attitude of gratitude. You know, you hear that a lot and it's almost cliched, but it's the best human trait you can have. I've heard it said that if you are grateful, you will soon find out that you have got more to be grateful about, and that is so true. When you are truly grateful, your mind rewards you, your brain rewards you with dopamine, a feel-good hormone, and it makes you more motivated, and it makes you more of a risk taker. It makes you feel more in control. It's a huge benefit. So start practicing gratitude. I think it's something that you need to learn to open your day with and close your day with. And we're going to talk a little bit about gratitude later. But don't underestimate the power of gratitude. Start practicing it every day. So let's recap quickly. What have we learned so far? Well, we've learned we're going to take responsibility. The next thing, we're going to train our brains. We're going to control our story. We're going to listen to our self-talk. We're going to kill ants, automatic negative thoughts. We're going to replace the word problem with puzzles. We're going to ask the right questions. We're going to close loops, and we're going to have an attitude of gratitude. And if you'll just practice that, you're going to see change will start happening. So, yeah, we've spoken about motivation. You've got a strong why. We spoke about mindset, the principles that I've spoken to you about. It's going to help you with your mindset. Now let's get a method. And a great method for dealing with stress is a daily routine. You've got to have a daily routine and stick to it. It's very important. I've got my daily routine and it helps me out a lot. And what I suggest when you develop your daily routine, that it starts in the morning with gratitude. The first thing you do before you brush your teeth, you find 3 things to be grateful about. And then you start experiencing the power of gratitude. Then you go into some form of meditation. If you don't know how to meditate, learn. There's a lot of information out there. Take responsibility and learn, because meditation is going to help you with the closing of loops. And then schedule exercising. Now, you don't have to exercise for hours. If you just go out and walk, it's going to make a big difference in your life. Already you're going to start experiencing more dopamine and feel good, more in control. It's going to do you the world of good. Then you need a good diet. You need an excellent diet, okay? You need a healthy diet, and you need a good brain diet. Start finding one. And then don't underestimate the power of sleep. Try and get 7 to 8 hours sleep. If you've got problems sleeping, just put yourself in a relaxed state. Maybe try some meditation before you go to sleep. It will help you. So let's just recap quickly. We've got to get a good daily routine. We've got to start with gratitude. We've got to close loops. Meditation is going to help us with that. We're going to do some exercise. We're going to get a good diet, and we're going to sleep. And then, this is an important one. Every day, you've got to learn something. New learnings is so important. It's important for your brain development. It's important for making your brain strong. And it's also important for growing. Because the best thing for you is know your opponent. And if your opponent is stress, get to know stress. Learn every day how to cope with stress, how to overcome stress, how to control stress. Remember, it's a skill that you're going to have to learn. You know, there's so much good information that's out there on everything. There's good information on daily routines. There's such good information and learnings on gratitude and meditation. There's excellent studies on exercise. There's fantastic things on diet. I mean, my wife is into nutrition and she studies it, and stuff that she shares with me and that we've been looking at it, that your diet can affect your decision making. It can affect your mood. It's amazing what your diet, the power and the influence that it has over your brain. But take responsibility. You can't just be a passenger. You can't be a passive passenger in the situation. If you want to overcome and you want to deal with stress, there's no passivity in it. You're going to have to stand up and you're going to have to do something. And that only you can do. Nobody can do it for you. You're going to have to do it. So understand something. You've got an opponent. It's killing you. It's sapping the life out of you. It's making you stupid, sick, and slow. And you don't want that. You want to be fit, fast, and fun. And it's going to come from work. And you're going to do your daily routine, because let me tell you something. Knowledge without action is not power. Knowledge plus action, as Jim Quick says, is power. You're going to have to put action. Remember, this is only an introduction that I've given you. And all that my goal was is to give you hope, to tell you that, you know what, you can cope with stress, you can overcome stress. You don't have to be the victim, yeah? You can be the overcomer. There is a great life for you that lies ahead. That's all that I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to let you realize that there is a problem and that you can win. You have that ability, but you are going to have to do something. And remember, every day won't be a winning day. You know, in your journey, you're going to have your bad days. But remember this, that even the greatest sportsmen in the world don't win every game. Even the greatest sportsman in the world doesn't win every game. Having a bad day is not the end of the world. What do you do if you have a bad day? You just start the next day off very well. And remember, this is what I'm going to tell you in closing. When you start your day, do it with commitment, do it with passion, do it with a belief in your heart. Because if you can take the morning, you can win the day. The morning is your most important part of your day. So take the morning and win the day and watch your life change. If you feel that I can help you in any way as a mind coach, please feel free to contact me. And then I ask you to like and subscribe to our channel. And if you feel that this video can help anybody in any sort of way, please pass it on. I understand that in this time, it's a real stressful time. It's a concern to me, but we all need to make a stand. We all got to keep ourselves and maintain ourselves. You are in charge of your own mental hygiene. Thank you for listening to me. I really appreciate it.